Hey bike farmers, thanks for clicking in. We got ourselves the daddiest dad bike of all dad bikes that's ever been dad biked. This is a Raleigh M-80. It is a comfort mountain bike. I rode something very similar to this for years when I lived in Madison and commuted back and forth to the bike shop. Mine was actually like the SC something, the Sport Comfort. This is like the mountainy biker kind of one. It's already set up all bike farmery. Semi-slick tires, a nice upright stem and upright handlebars, and the super squishy saddle that we're gonna replace because it's broken. You know, like we don't have to do anything but tune this sucker. And looks like we're gonna do some pedals. Other than that, it's just gonna be cleaning, lubing, and adjusting like we always do. We'll probably come across something dumb that drives me crazy, so stick around for that. In the meantime, you just kick back and relax. I'm gonna get started. Per the usual. Oh, it's moving ever so slowly. Put it in little and that makes it easier to deal with in these early stages. We'll pop these wheels off. Oh, this has a bracket for a trailer, like any dad bike should. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of missing its main part. Maybe I can find one of those in the bins and help this dad out. I don't think I've ever seen one of these installed properly. Every dad gets it wrong. You'd think they'd actually care, you know, hauling their precious cargo around, their own children. Hey, ay, ay. Nope, just slap around there, go for a ride. Who cares? Pull your derailleur in like that. Get that little wiggly wobbly out of there. Then you got access to the cable. You can run the same old gamut on the front derailleur. This one's really sticky, we know that from before. Okay, but if you pull the derailleur out, that gives enough slack in the cable that you can pull it out. All right, we'll get that destickified here in a sec. So this is the rear one, it's already loose. The rear brake, which is already loose. And then, ding! Do all those at the same time. Look at that. That's efficient. Elon Musk taught me that. That's how efficient that is. Guy is so efficient. This bike has been sitting somewhere, dusty and grungy, forever. So I'm just gonna go to town with a Dawn Power Wash. It's just like doing the dishes, only it's a bicycle. And I have a pretty dirty rag here, which is just fine. And this rag will pick up some of that moisture and it'll sit in that rag. And then this will be a nice tack cloth. And I have a feeling with this bike, we'll be wiping as we go. And you're all singing along to the song that my grandma once wrote. But this is the original wipe down, so. Hey bike farmers, just a couple quick notes while there's a lull in the action. I recently figured out that I'm making about $15 for every 1,000 views with AdSense money. I can count on most of these videos hitting about 10,000 views. Each one of those videos takes about 10 hours to produce. I'm making about 15 bucks an hour before taxes. That's really not half bad, but it's not enough to live on. So I either gotta get really good at making videos or I'm gonna need your help. You can send a super thanks right now or consider joining the channel as a monthly sustaining member. Or head over to bikefarmer.com and buy some merch. There's a link below in the description. Thank you so much for watching and thank you for your support. Now let's get back to the bikes. So it's really hard to get at this front brake cable, but that's okay. It felt pretty clean in there, but we're just dropping some lube right there and then gravity's kind of sucking it down in the rabbit hole there, down into the housing. And that's really pretty slick already. All of this is really slick. This bike is basically unridden. Very, very light use. It's just been sitting. This barrel adjuster is way out. So we're going to turn that in, but I want to leave a little bit of adjustability, and we'll sort that out later when we adjust the front derailleur. So front derailleur wraps around this way. Looks like the brake wants to go in the middle. And then, I don't like that. Brake goes on the outside one. Shifter goes in the middle one. What I'm talking about, you know, like this is the brake cable. This is the rear shifter. This is the front shifter. And then get a little bit of lube. There, see how nicely that fits in there then. Rear shift cable. The front one. And arguably the most important one is this, but not always the case. These are actually pretty great brakes. I like them. They're easy to adjust. They're Shimano Alivio from this late 90s era. The bike shop I worked at was a Raleigh dealer, so we got these bikes in and I got to deal with them when they came out. You know, it's just like they're just well put together. The M-80 was a little bit nicer bike, but all of that is slickered and snot on a doorknob now. Those pads are in good shape. So like I mentioned before, my grandmother really loved to eat prunes, and spent a lot of, you know, put her on the toilet, is what I'm trying to say. And we'd hear her singing down the hall, the door on the right. Wiping as we go, wiping as we go. When you eat like I do, we're wiping as we go. I've just always thought that was a beautiful life philosophy, especially when it comes to fixing bicycles. So I'm dropping some lube back here in the front brakes, kind of like we did on the rear, but I angle it downward so gravity kind of sucks the lube down into the posts. And if you wiggle it just a little bit, Dwight D. Eisenhower was the originator of that little jingle. Wiggle it just a little bit. Dwight Delano Eisenhower. Little known fact, but his grandmother also was into the prunes, if you know what I'm saying. Put her in a wheelchair. Yeah, I know. It's an obtuse sense of humor. So in high school, I had an English teacher, Miss Thomasick. If any of my classmates watch this channel, which I'm sure they don't, you know, it was sad. She died of an aneurysm, just like blah, blah. No, I'm not joking. That's not funny at all. It was very sad. She was on the beach, which is kind of beautiful. Like, you know, she loved to be on the beach and just like, boom, dead, right? But anyway, one of the lessons she taught us was T.S. Eliot's poem, The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. And she had each of us in class pick a few lines or a stanza and memorize it, and then we got to perform it. And I don't know if she like assigned it to me or if I chose it. I just don't remember how it came about. But the part of J. Alfred Prufrock that I memorized in high school, which I can't memorize a thing anymore. It's so weird how my brain works. But as I've gotten older, like I'm convinced it was all the drinking in the 20s and 30s, in my 20s and 30s. Not the 20s, I'm not that old. Like that part of my brain to memorize things just is gone. Like it's so weird. Like I learn songs and play them on guitar and I can play them hundreds and hundreds of times and I still can't remember the lyrics or the chords or whatever. I have to have the chart in front of me. But I can remember the stuff that I memorized as a kid, sort of. But the one thing that I memorized or that I just have never forgotten is that stanza from J. Alfred Prufrock that I think, and I thought then, describes me to a T. And it's so weird, like how much I relate to Prufrock and that poem. It's deferential, glad to be of use, politic, cautious, and meticulous, full of high sentence, but a bit obtuse. At times, indeed, almost ridiculous, almost at times the fool. And I was like, oh, you know, I mean, I'm not necessarily politic, cautious, and meticulous. I mean, I sort of am. I mean, as I like painfully go through systematically and clean another wheel, like I have cleaned 10,000 wheels like this. I mean, seriously, it is so many. So maybe a bit, you know, I don't even know what politic means. What does it mean to be politic? Cautious? Nah, really. So that part doesn't really apply. I am deferential and I'm glad to be of use. Politic, cautious, and meticulous, full of high sentence. Which I think kind of means like intellectual in a way, pseudo-intellectual perhaps. Full of high sentence, but a bit obtuse, most certainly. At times indeed, almost ridiculous. I do my best. Almost at times the fool. You know, the whole thing with Prufrock and J. Alfred Prufrock is many, many Shakespearean characters and every story ever written. There's always, you know, any good story has the wise fool. The one that just kind of haphazardly goes through life and makes questionable decisions and finds success, you know, despite themselves. You know, that's something when I was an English major in college, I think, you know, Miss Thomasick had a lot to do with. She really encouraged my writing. And although I was originally an engineer and or supposed to be, was pretty good at math and science and stuff too. But anyway, once I learned, I think I talked about this in the last video, or I don't know, you'll hear this periodically. I learned how to write papers and that I could kind of bullshit my way through college. And I was really struggling to get A's on tests. I was struggling to get C's on tests in math and science. I understood the material, but I could not test, couldn't prove it. But anyway, one of the recurring themes of papers that I wrote was about the wise fool character, something I always related to. And, you know, being able to just kind of do the truthing stand and talk smart to you and fix bikes. And fix bikes definitely aligns with wise fool stuff. Like, what the hell am I even doing? I don't know, I'm rescuing bikes. You know, very practical application here, even though I'm kind of off in La La Land most of the time, talking about Dwight D. Eisenhower. Was it really Dwight D. Eisenhower? He wasn't the one in the wheelchair. That was one of the Roosevelts. It certainly wasn't his grandmother eating prunes. I don't know. What the hell? Pretty true. What do you say we cut the yapping and just spray her down and hit fast forward for a second? Hey bike farmers, just a quick note while there's a lull in the action. If you've made it this far, I assume you liked the video enough to click the like button. If you really like it, let us know in the comments below. And if you're into bicycle content for regular people, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you're able to support more directly, click on the super thanks button and send me some taco money. Or better yet, join the channel as a monthly sustaining member. All of these things will help grow the channel organically and give the Bike Farmer YouTube channel a strong future. Thanks again for watching. Now let's get back to the bikes. Okay, so trailers. It's probably for a Burley, maybe? Burley trailer, something like that. Anyway, it was missing this part, okay? It's got this little tab on it. Now the tab fits in the dropout, and then it keeps that from spinning, right? So it holds that steady, and then there's holes in it, and then, whoa, on the bracket, you can see there's little knobbles, and then those knobbles fit into the holes, and then that holds this from spinning and, you know, doing its thing. Now, it's not the end of the world, but what most people do is they just strap it on there like that, hey, and then compress everything together, and then this is straight back anyway. So it works, right? But it's not right. And I don't know, you know, much like Elon, I only care about the children, not just my 14 children spread all over the world that I don't talk to or ever see, but your children. That's what I care about. So then that goes on there like that. And usually, well, maybe not with this because it's pretty thin, but usually there's a special skewer that comes with them too. So you get more than 4 threads on this side, but we'll see. It's really hard to get my camera back in this corner, so hard to fit back in this corner. I could maybe just push everything out and try a little harder for you. Nah, we're just gonna wing it. Wing it and bring it here. See if we, all right, so the tab isn't catching the dropout in any kind of meaningful way. Oh, there it goes. Okay, plenty of threads. And then we'll get that lined up properly. It's never easy. Tell you what, life is a constant struggle. What do the Buddhists say? Life is suffering. Isn't that a nice thought? Well, I mean, I don't know if that's any better. So it's pretty hard to see, but this is the tab, and it's really not touching anything. It's kind of supposed to sit in the dropout, but the dropout is so short. So the tab is kind of supposed to be right there. Okay, so it could be up there. It's just really hard to get it just exactly perfect. Okay, so now the tab is bottomed out. So it's actually functioning and doing something. But I still don't think my wheel's in straight necessarily, but that's probably as good as we're gonna do here. You know, it's touching right there. You know, all the pressure from the trailer is going to be pulling out. So I think we're okay. Okay, so that is in there. Oh, that's so good. Yeah. Hey, that's good. So regardless, is this upside down? Regardless, the bike trailer situation, a Burley, is basically like a roll cage for your toddler. So even if it does come detached from the bike, they don't really roll over, and if they did, if you have your kids strapped in, they're just kind of like protected. I don't see anybody really getting hurt. Most kids have helmets on in there anyway, which all of it's better than the seats that go on a rack on the back. 9 out of 10 times I see those racks are loose on the bike. The kid's just flopping around back there. And you put all that weight on the top of a bike, and bike is kind of designed for a lower center of gravity. Even though like most of our weight's right here, that bike is so tippy with a kid in it. Like even parents, like you just watch people test ride bikes at Gibbs for like a day, and it's like nobody has the bike handling capabilities to, I just call them baby killers. That's what I'm getting at, is you have so much leverage there that that kid is up there, and that bike will tip over, and wham, just slam the kid on the ground and its brain is just gonna go. So don't buy those. Don't buy the baby killers. Tell everybody, put the baby killers out of business. I hate them. Although you never hear of it happening, so I'm making it all up, right? I don't know. What is this nanny state? The baby seats that go up here on the handlebars, that I don't have a problem with because, I mean, it's still that same kind of top heaviness, but at least your arms are around the kid when you're riding, and if you go down, you can kind of grab the kid and protect them and sacrifice yourself, fall on the grenade. Those are, I think, safer. But I don't know, what do I know? I'm just a bike mechanic. I'm not a, safety expert. It's not like you're like injecting your child with vaccines or anything super dangerous. I'm gonna go on record right now to say that I have understood from day one, it was my belief, my understanding, that it was way too coincidental that that whole virus came out of Wuhan, China, where they were working on coronaviruses looking exactly like that. And it just, it came from a bat, not from the lab. Like, it didn't make sense, right? It had to have come from that lab. And I understand why people cover that shit up. Like, I'd cover it up if I were responsible for it. And then I also understood that the mRNA jabs weren't really vaccines, that it would just kind of help us cope with the symptoms. It wasn't preventing anything. Everybody's going to get COVID anyway, but we just wouldn't get as sick. So it would mitigate the effects of the disease, not prevent getting it. So I was never fooled, and I don't care that other people were fooled and took them a while to figure it out, or that everybody thought that it was some giant conspiracy to misinform. Like, nope, that's not how it went. You made that part up. So there, that's my take on that amount of controversy. And no, vaccines aren't safe. They're not completely safe. There's risk, but there's risk if you leave the house today. Like, nothing is safe. Life is nothing but survival, guys. It's work. All we do is work to survive, make it through the day without dying. That's how it is for everyone. Everybody's got a little different understanding of how that works and a little different acceptance of, what do you call it, risk aversion or whatever. I don't know, take risks or don't. Leave me alone. Don't tread on me. Remember that time in that video not too long ago where I said that, oh, I love that for you so much, was the woke version of don't tread on me? I still think that's the smartest thing I've ever come up with in my entire life. I am just full of beans today. I tell you what. I like it. My mother used to say, "Who put the nickel in you?" when I used to get like this as a kid. And I was like, Christ, lady, how old are you? Like, Pac-Man's a quarter, Like, I get it. I know what you're saying. Put a dime in the jukebox, baby. That was like 10 years ago. Have you ever heard of inflation? Now, I haven't been to one of those barcades, but I'd imagine people are spending, I don't know, what, $1 to play a game? What are we up to? How much does it cost to play a song on the jukebox at the bar these days? I don't drink anymore. Probably should. Probably wouldn't get like this so much if I did. So it is March 20th, 2025, right now. And it is the morning and the beginning of March Madness. And boy howdy, is it total March Madness around here. The Lake Mills Elkcats boys basketball team has made it to the state tournament in Madison, Wisconsin. They will be playing at the Kohl Center at 3:20 this afternoon. That's the home of the Wisconsin Badgers, who are also playing first round of the NCAA tournament as a 3 seed. Now, I don't know where they're playing. However, I know it's not at the Kohl Center because, the state tournament's going on. So I'm going to the Kohl Center to watch the Lake Mills boys play at 3:20, but the Badgers play at 12:30. So, And I think I've got a custy coming at noon, which I might have to change because I was going to go into Madison early and then go somewhere and watch the Badger game in Madison, you know, where there might be a little more exciting. So the bar that I would hang out at in Madison is really close to the Kohl Center. And like I know the owners, and we used to go on the state tournament weekends and do a bunch of day drinking with, you know, people from all over Wisconsin, as we do here in Wisconsin. And it's always a lot of fun, the state tournaments, because you get all these guys from up north and, you know, the small towner dudes that come in, and, you know, they'll come and suck Bud Lights for, you know, 2 or 3 hours, and then go to the Kohl Center and watch a game, and then come back and have a burger and watch some other basketball and suck a bunch more Bud Lights and then go back. And it's one of those things. So, you know, those were my drinking days. It was a lot of fun to just go do that. But today, I think I might just go in a little early and either sit at the bar or go down to the Union and watch the Badgers before I go watch the Elkcats. I'm not even a sports fan, you know? Like, I'm just not a big fan of sports, but March Madness has that vibe. You know, you go through that, and then I get to watch the Masters. And, you know, this time of year, I have some sports I watch. It's kind of fun. I get it, you know, but generally not into it. So, just from messing around with this bike, we got this front derailleur moving. You know, I don't think I've sprayed any lubricant upon it, but here we go. I got the Finish Line One Step cleaner / lubricant. It's a nice fine lubricant, and now it's, you know, shiny and new and flopping around like a Chinese acrobat with an inner ear infection. Dennis Miller said that the first time he did Monday Night Football many years ago. I remember it. Do you guys remember Dennis Miller doing Monday Night Football for like 2 weeks before they were like, no, that's a bad idea? That was awesome. It's probably the last time I watched Monday Night Football. Dennis Miller and Al Michaels, I think it was, wasn't it? Who's not a sports fan? Oop. Something is making some wubby-dubby in back, yeah. I'm gonna just try to sort it out. I thought this pad looked a little crooked. Okay, so it's not flopping around now, but I'm just gonna add a smidge of tension. Ooh, too much. Take a little off. There's really no need for me to do this, but I just kind of felt like the rim was dusty, and I got quite a bit, you know, off that side. You know, it's risky. You start changing the braking surface and you're going to introduce some squeaks maybe, but it just felt crusty. Just kind of kick off the dust a little bit there. This bike is so much better than it was. These are satisfying tune-ups for me. It really is. This bike is kind of the epitome of the clean, lube, and adjust. You know, it had just been sitting, you know, it was just really just sitting and kind of crusty and old. And if you just do a little clean, lube, and adjust, it brings it right back to life. Okay, it's hitting on the tire. You know, I put a little bit of air in the tire and it changed the situation. I think these tires are enough to get this guy back out on his bike, but we might be replacing them sooner than later. Starting to crack a little bit. Yeah, Dennis Miller he said that, the players were flopping around like Chinese acrobat with an inner ear infection. And that was his sportscasting. Which, it's kind of like how I would do it. I'm not saying, I liked it. I thought it was great. That's how I see football. Is like these guys are just flopping around on each other like Chinese acrobats with inner ear infections. Like, it's about how it appears to me, but apparently that wasn't the kind of commentary the Alpha Bros wanted to hear about their beloved game. The last thing you want to think about when you're driving around in that gigantic pickup truck is guys flopping around on each other. That's all I'm saying. I really hate reflectors. What a dumb thing. Like, especially nowadays. It is the 90s. We are able to put batteries in lights that are pretty bright. We're going to ride at night. But like, nobody rides their bikes at night. It just, well, I'm gonna get the comments. I ride my bike at night. I ride my bike at night. Yeah, okay. You poor oppressed 1%er. The Giant City Connect. There's nothing special about this particular saddle, guys. You don't have to comment. What kind of saddle was that? Can you put it in the... No, I can't. Just go to Amazon and get yourself a wide saddle. It's fine. Or go to your local Giant dealer and see if they've got a City Connect or want to order you one or whatever. But, these... It's not like something you can just go online and buy that I know of. I mean, maybe you can. Maybe there are Giant dealers out there that are selling these things through their website or something. But it's not me. And they're not like widely available. It's just a Giant thing. They're just a Giant branded saddle. But they happen to be very nice quality, and I use them on all my bikes, and I've never had any complaints and never gotten any back for failure. So, nice saddle. Nice and supportive, not super squishy. It's got springs back here and good stuff. It's vinyl, not whatever nylon that soaks up or gel. It's foam. It's good. Good. And there we have it. Another completed Bike Farmer tune-up. And I gotta be honest with you. The channel has slowed down a little bit. The subscriber count has crashed like Tesla stock. And, I don't know if it's my attitude, like last time this happened, that I'm just turning people off because I have opinions that may go against your grain. I don't know what it is, but then I see all these comments. I go, no, we love that. Keep going. I just can't help myself. This is me. Take it or leave it. Hopefully you take it. And I assume that if you've watched this far without throwing a total fit in the comments, that you liked this video. So let me know by clicking the like button. It always helps, although I'm not sure how much. And subscribe to the channel, which really helps my ego. Did you know that the subscriber count is only a vanity metric in the YouTube world? A lot of people subscribe, and then for a while the algorithm will put my videos in front of them, but if they don't click through or click into it, then just don't, because there's like a lot of channels that I've subscribed to a while ago that I don't see their videos, right? Unless I go looking for them or go through my subscriber, and nobody like goes into their subscriber page and just like, oh, I missed, sometimes we do, right? Or I have. But anyway, subscriber count barely matters for anything. What really matters is you guys clicking in the beginning, I think. I don't even know what matters. It's got to be good content. I know that much. And so I'm working on it, trying to get a little better every day. Trying to hone. Yeah, I'm getting better every day. Anyway, that's my side. That's how the sausage is made. And I guess I always care how the sausage is made. So maybe you guys too. From my side, I'm always watching the analytics on these things. My last video was like 10 of 10. And that was so annoying. I don't know why. And YouTube's like, oh, change your title and thumbnail. That might help. No, but anyway, thank you guys. I love my subscribers, you regular watchers. you know, I'm good, right? Like, you know, I'm gonna get, you know, a few thousand, you know, 10,000 views out of every one of these. I know that now because I've grown the channel to that point, and it's because of you. And I am so grateful, all of you that watch till the end and love my ridiculous opinionated banter. It's what I love doing most, I think. Appreciate it so much. You make it all possible. And yeah, if you really, really, really love me, which I understand if you do, super thanks. Taco money. Yeah, I had tacos with the video that I made yesterday. My road bike, that should come out right before this one or after this one. And ordered it right there, and then I ate them. Oh my God, they're so good. They were really good yesterday too. I have one left. I've started just eating 2, partly because I'm like gaining weight, which is so dumb. And like I'm just getting old, and you know, whatever, we gain weight when we get old. And so I eat 2, but then it's like I have one sitting in the fridge, and so like second breakfast is right around the corner now. I could just go have a taco for second breakfast. So anyway, that's what the super thanks gets me going on, is those tacos from across the street there, El Mariachi, Tacos Campechanos. That's chorizo and steak. Whew, man, they're good. But if you don't want to do that for every single video, you can just become a monthly sustaining member by joining the channel. It's like going to Patreon and whatever, but you can do it right here on YouTube. You know, you might get these videos a little early. If I get the edit done and schedule the upload for the next day or a couple days out or something like that, like I always plan on doing but never do, you'll see it early. I'll just schedule it so members see it early. And also, if you have the little star by your name and I see the comments, which I see a lot of them, and you ask a question, I'll give you an answer. I recommend that you go find that thing that you subscribe to that you're not using in your phone and take that $10 a month or whatever and just give it to me instead. Hopefully you find 10 of them and it's $100 a month. Give me all your money. But for yourself, click that notification bell so you and your bikes can stay tuned.